Well, today's episode, we're going to review the much recent event by DDT Pro Wrestling, God Bless DDT 2022, where we have two championship matches, the Universal title and the KOD Openweight title on the line. We got many other matches we're definitely going to be talking about. And also, we got Day 9 of New Japan Pro Wrestling Battle Atom, and I can't believe what's going to happen, because apparently we had a surprise guest showing up. And of course, we got AEW Dynamite. As you know, a lot of things are taking place. We got the #1 contendership for, of course, the tag team titles. Riho makes her return, taking on Jamie Hayter. Jon Moxley puts his AEW World title on the line against Penta, and many other things. And of course, we got some news updates to find out what's been going on in the world of pro wrestling. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, let's begin with DDT Pro Wrestling with God Bless DDT 2022. This was recently on the 23rd of October. Now, normally we don't do pre-shows, but this one was a very interesting one. We have a 5-on-2 match. We have team number 1, Toru Owashi, Antonio Honda, Makoto Oishi, Akito, and of course the boss himself, Shinjiro Takagi, taking on two members of the Pheromones. We have Danshuko Dandy Dino and Yuki Sexy Ino. Uminara is outside at his corner. Now, you probably would have assumed this is a funny match. It was very interesting. However, as you know, when we see Dino, he likes to show his ass and electrocute it. Whenever Antonio Honda does the fox thing on him, and boom, that's how it rolls. But however, the most shocking, disturbing thing is Takagi called out, of course, the general manager, what's his name again, Imabashi, saying that he wants him to whack Dino with the chair. But it did not go according to plan like Takagi had. Imabashi actually whacked Takagi with the chair and allowed Dino to pick up the pinfall. I'm like, what the F? What just happened? I'm thinking, why, Imabashi? You have been tortured by the Pheromones for months, and Takagi has to deal with it. I'm like, oh man, I can't even believe that. But I don't know what exactly the reasons was for him to do that, but I can guess maybe he's like, look, I got a few months left, because Imabashi is leaving by the end of this year. But now Takagi has to find someone to clean up the mess, to deal with their Pheromones, and I can't believe he actually left it in the hands of Akito. So he played him. Wow. Can't believe that. Alright. Now, we open up with the main card. We have this new guy named Kasuma Sumi taking on, of course, Tokyo Kazuki Irada. Now, you know this guy likes to dance. I'd say it was a pretty good match because, I think Irada wants to see what Sumi can deliver. And I think he did pretty well. But however, he ended up in a Boston Crab, which of course is something that the new wrestlers go through. And of course, Sumi had no choice but to tap out. But there is no shame in losing. But he did get a standing ovation thanks to Irada showing him this guy is going to do some great things. So I say, that's cool. Next match, we have the members of Eruption, Hideki Okatani and Saki Akai, teaming up with the members of 37 Kamina. We have Shumna, Katsumata, and Toi Kojima to take on all members of Damnation TA, consistent of Kanon, Minoru Fujita, MJ Paul, and of course, Daisuke Sasaki. Now, you know this is the kind of match where Damnation TA are trying to send a message saying that they run DDT, and they always have. Now, ever since Damnation TA bursting into the scene, realizing that they can conquer, that's exactly what happened. But, however, the only thing that ended is, of course, Kanon, who has shown his superiority ever since joining the Damnation, was able to pull off a bridge suplex onto Toi Kojima in order to win the match. And of course, during the post-match, he had a little hard to talk with, of course, the Sasaki. I don't know what he said, but it seems whatever he said, he approves. Now, our next match, we have Soma Takoa, Hikaru Mashida versus Takesha Masada and Hiroshima. Now, I thought this match was also pretty good because Masada is in fact the new kid on the block as well, but he did put up a good fight. But in the end, it was, of course, Mashida who actually picked up the win by knockout and then a pinfall onto Masada, and that's how it wins. 1, 2, 3, it was done. Now, we have a little special announcement coming from Imbabashi. I did mention this before in a previous update that Soma Takoa will be running the Dropkick bar and sports bar and that they own. They even announced something very interesting. They 2 Yoshi wrestlers made their appearance. Sayori Onoe and Riko Kawahara. Now, this is not the first time Sayori Onoe actually been there. She had teamed up with what's her name? With Miyako Matsumoto, but she kind of screwed up. They were taking out against Mayuhiki and Saki Akai. She brings in, I think this is the first time Riko Kawahara comes in. She, as you know, she's a freelancer, but we don't know the tensions. But I wouldn't be surprised if they're targeting. They even mentioned on an interview that they are keeping their eyes out on the current Princess Tag Team Champions. We're talking about Reiwa AA Cannon, consistent of Saki Akai and Yuki Arai. So that is something we definitely got to pay attention to. Now, our next match, we have like a mixture of wrestlers taking on the members of Burning. We have Yuki Yoshida, Shunichiro Katsumaru, and Osamu Nishimura taking on Burning members Yuya Koroku, Yusuke Okada, and Jun Akiyama. Now, I knew this match is going to be a very interesting matchup, but however, it was, of course, Koroku who picked up the win with a somewhat of a, what I don't know if it's similar to it, like a biscuit bicep, which is something that I've seen Wheeler Yuta does, but he put that on Ashita, and Ashita had no other choice but to tap out. So it was a very interesting matchup. Now, our next match, we have Mao, Yuki Naya, and Tetsuya Endo teaming up against Yuji Ino, Chris Brooks, and Naomi Yoshimura. This was a very difficult match because I have seen these guys are from different groups, different personalities, that sort of thing. But however, it was Brooks who picked up the win on Yuki Anai, but Anai was not happy how this result ended. So basically, he went on a rampage. But yeah. Now, our next match is a semifinal, which is the DDT Universal title. We have members of the Koju Shining Ball Takeda taking on Yuki Onoi. As you know, Takeda, he is a member of course, the Pheromones. This is one of those matches where, of course, Yuki Onoi has to put up his best face in order to win this match. But however, he cannot let, of course, the Pheromones try to take this title away from him. But he was able to pick up a pinfall against Takeda, 1, 2, 3, and he retained it. Now, this next one is a very emotional match between 2 former friends, student and mentor in some ways. You have Yukio Sakaguchi taking on the current KOD champion, KOD Openweight champion, Kazusada Iguchi. Now, as you know, Iguchi made the choice to leave Eruption to follow his own path. So a while back, Sakaguchi said that he would like to challenge him. And of course, this was a very big match. However, it was a choke slam that slammed down Sakaguchi and gave Iguchi the win. But however, at the post match, I think Sakaguchi felt thankful that he got this match because now he sees the path where Iguchi's going. He even told Ishida and Yoshimura that they should be proud that they have a good leader. And he did tell Okatani and Akai they need to work harder now that there are just the three of them. But before they left, Iguchi talked to Okatani and he gave him his gown. It was this gown that he used to wear when he was with Eruption, and he gave it to him. As you guys don't remember or do know, it was Iguchi who integrated him into Eruption, and I think he felt that now it's Okatani's time to shine. And I think he wants him to be proud, like, it's your turn, kid. It's time for you to shine. And I think maybe Okatani felt emotional knowing that is right. He has to do things his way now. I feel like it was more like, look, I was your mentor, but now it's time for you to step up. And I think that's a good moment. So there's no clearing who will be the next challenger, but I can't wait to see what's going to happen. So I think that's pretty much it what we have for DDT. I believe it's time for New Japan Pro Wrestling. Okay, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Adam, this is day 9th, I believe. This was on the what we have. So this one is in Korakuen Hall, in case anybody asks. So it opened up with, of course, the Young Lions, Kosa Fujita and Yuto Nakashima, taking on United Empire's Gideon Gray and Aaron Henare. Now, you probably would have guessed this was going to fall into favor with United Empire because, as you know, the Young Lions are still on a learning curve, but they cannot stop the power of Aaron Henare, where he speared Fujita in order to pick up the W. Next up, we have Suzuki-gun's Taka Michinoku, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, and Zack Sabre Jr. taking on Alex Zane, Tiger Mask, and David Finlay. Now, keep in mind, in this particular match, you have Finlay and Zack Sabre Jr., who will be facing each other in the next round of the IWGP World Television Title Tournament. So that's kind of like a preview of what's been going on. But, as always, we'll continue to be surprised with the ability of none other than the Sauce Alex Zane, where he picked up the win with the cinnamon roll onto Taka Michinoku. So, everybody should know, he's like the favorite fans are getting to know, and they love it. And not to mention, there was a video of Taka with some official of New Japan eating Taco Bell in Japan. So, yes, folks, you probably heard me right. Next up, we got Hikuleo, the young Tonga, teaming with none other than the ace Hiroshi Tanahashi, taking on the most hated group in New Japan, and we're referring to the House of Torture, Dick Togo and Evil. Now, you probably would have assumed that these guys, as they always cut corners every single time, it was going to work. Not this time, because Hikuleo, oh my God, he obliterated Dick Togo with a big ass chokeslam. Uno, dos, tres, he's done. However, I did mention in the last episode with the news updates about the status of the Never Openweight title. As you know, New Japan officials have been saying they want that title to be vacant and returned as soon as possible. But Hikuleo pleaded with the New Japan officials, saying that he doesn't want they don't want them to strip that title away from. He wants to earn it the right way by beating him up. And that's exactly what now. We don't know what the New Japan officials would say about that or what they will be determined to do. But we will stay apprised of that as soon as possible. Next up, we got Suzuki-gun, Taichi, and El Desperado taking on Bullet Club's Kenta and Taiji Ishimori. Now, keep in mind, Despi and Ishimori will be part of the four-way match taking place, I believe, in Wrestle Kingdom for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title. But this is more of a preview before we get to that. And I thought it was a pretty interesting thing. But however, in this one, Kenta low-blowed Taichi after he pulled down his pants and got away with it. So they picked up that win. Next up, we have Master Wato along with Togi Makabe taking on the members of LIJ, Hiromu Takahashi, and Sanada. Now, another preview of that whole four-way for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title, Hiromu and Wato. I thought this match was pretty good, but in this case, it was, of course, the bridge by Sanada that picked up the win onto Makabe. Now, our next match, this one, I have to say, was a very interesting one. We have LIJ, Titan, Bushi, and Naito taking on United Empire's Jeff Cobb and the current IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions, Francesco Akira and TJP. Now, recently we have been seeing whenever the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions face LIJ members that have Bushi and Titan, they always lose. Because, as you know, United Empire are not determined to lose the titles. They say they always have a game plan, but the last 3 times, it looks like the game plan did not work exactly in their favor. But of course, it was a pinfall on Bushi that allowed the current champions to pin Bushi and show them the superiority, saying that no matter what, that they will walk out as champions. But of course, there's only one loss they had. They got a long way to go before we get to their match. Now we entered the last 2 matches, which is part of the first round of the IWGP World Television title. Our first one is Great-O-Khan versus Toru Yano. Now, these 2 guys have a history, if you guys know, many times over. Yano always gets away by taping. He even cut the ponytail from Great-O-Khan many times. But of course, Khan will never forget all the things that Yano did to him. That's part of his MO. But when we thought things were going in Khan's favor, lights turned off. Nobody knew what's happening. But out of the blue, coming from the demon world, the Great Muta appeared. And when Khan realized what was going on, he turned around and saw him. And then what happened? Muta missed him. And of course, Yano picked up the win. And of course, once again, Khan being dramatic with the green mist that he's like being in a horror film, crawls his way to find Khan. But this is what happened in the post-match comment that I read. This is what what Muta said. Fuck Okan. I'll kill him. But he did stated that he wants to team up with Yano and Okada. And Great Khan can pick whoever he wants to join. But Yano did say another good point. You think you were the tag partner of the Great Muta? You're dreaming. Because Yano knows Muta what he's capable of. He's not going to deny that. Because he came all the way from the demon world, and that's exactly what it's going to do. But Khan, he is beside himself. He, as you know, nobody else is left in the United Empire to compete in this title run. So Khan is pissed. He doesn't understand what he did. The last time he got missed by Khan, he disrespected Pro Wrestling Noah, or maybe Muta thought, I never did like you as my partner, or sort of thing. I don't know, but this is really cool. But that match will take place at the historic crossover on November 20th. But according to what they're saying now is that this will be the last match we see Great Muta in New Japan. Now, some of you are saying, wait a minute, does this count as part of his retirement matches? No, that's Noah. This is New Japan. Keep in mind, Muta does have some history in New Japan before, so keep that in mind. Now, our final match. This one, I have to say, is the most impressive match ever. We have Red Narita, the son of Strong Style, taking on the Stone Pitbull, Tomohiro Ishii. I'm like, whoa. God, or as Balanaki will say, God dang. So, I was impressed by this match a lot. Now, some of you probably would say in this match, Tomohiro Ishii would win. But yes, I have to say, Ren Narita has become the strongest person in New Japan. I remember the first time I ever seen him. He seems like he was the weakest link in New Japan as part of the Young Lions. But I think his little excursion going to the LA dojo might have helped him become even better. And that's exactly. He kind of even dressed up like a Shibata, but I was surprised. But in fact, it was the Blizzard suplex that sealed the deal for Ren Narita to pick up the win and advances. So, but he did say that he's going to want to make changes in New Japan, whether if people like it or not. But his next opponent in the next round will be none other than Yano. So we will pay attention to that. So soon we shall be continuing on with the next round of the IWGP World Television Title Tournament. So I think that's pretty much it right now with New Japan. I believe it's time for AEW Dynamite. Okay, AEW Dynamite. Open up with tag team action. We got the Jericho Appreciation Society, consistent of Chris Jericho, our current ROH champion, and the pure champion, Daniel Garcia, taking on the former champions from the Bullet Club, Blackpool Combat Club, Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta. I have to say this was a very impressive opener. I think it was a really good one. One thing it was the X factors is Hager and those two dimwits, Menard and Parker. Now you probably would have assumed that Jericho had everything under control, even brought Floyd into the mix, but it did not. But it was, of course, the neutralizer that sealed the deal for Claudio Castagnoli into the match. However, during an interview, Jericho acts like he was the freaking victim, saying that they cheated their way through because there was a bat there. For the record, Claudio never used the bat. It was just still lying around. There was no one who was putting their hands. And this time he said he declares war. He wants the ROH championship, the tag titles, and everything. Like everything that is ROH, he wants it all. But as you know, we got Mercedes Martinez, the women's champion, Samoa Joe, the world television champion, I think. Oh yeah, and Dalton Castle and the boys, the 6-man tag team champions. So I don't know how that's gonna fit in, but Jericho did state it. He wants to set up an open challenge against a former ROH champion. We just don't know who, but we will see when that day comes. Now, speaking after this match, Bryan Danielson, he's a bit frustrated after the recent events. One, of course, Jericho getting away with the ROH title, being screwed by Daniel Garcia, but also in the same matter, being talked back by Wheeler Yuta. As you know, Wheeler Yuta said his piece to Daniel Garcia, to Danielson for what he said about Garcia. So that kind of sets it in. But Claudio played the peacemaker, saying that once thing is done with Danielson facing Sammy in his match, that they will sit down and talk about this. That's what they want. Now, we get this very interesting video package where we see the Elite, consistent of Kenny and the Bucks, like they're being erased. And not to mention, I don't know if anybody noticed, the E is being removed from the AEW logo. Now, we don't know what that means, but there has been talk about the return of the Bucks and Kenny. Now, there's still no telling when will that happen. But there are a lot of people that are talking about it on social media, like, what is going on? So we don't know what's the significance of what this whole thing means yet, but hopefully we'll get that answer soon. Now, we do get a number 1 contendership for the AEW World Tag Team titles. We have Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee taking on FTR, Harwood, and Wheeler. However, they're being watched by none other than those nincompoops, the Gun Club, or as people like to call them, the Ass Boys. And of course, right there watching is the current AEW World Tag Team Champions, The Acclaim. So that kind of sets the tone. I thought this match was a classic. It was really amazing. I love how things were going great. Like, not to mention, you do have the cohesive between FTR, but you got the unusual abilities between both Strickland and Lee. I mean, Lee is limitless, you know. But however, things did not go well exactly for FTR's way. The Gun Club were holding Hardwood in order to keep him away from helping his tag team partner, because they felt FTR, they are done. They should have cashed in their #1 contendership when they had the chance. But Strickland low blowed Hardwood and got away with the win. By when I don't think Keith Lee noticed what happened, but as soon as the match was over, the Ass Boys attacked FTR, but the Acclaim came to the rescue to teach them a lesson. But however, right now Acclaim needs to focus their minds onto Swerve and Regular, since they are now the current #1 contenders. Now, there was an interview coming in by Renee Paquette with Saraya. As you know, those two are very close. Britt Baker tries to interrupt. Now, keep in mind, Britt Baker feels that the spotlight is now being shifted away from her. So, Renee Paquette decided, let's have these two sitting down. That's going to take place next week. So, we can't wait to see it. I'm sure Britt Baker's going to say that she is the real face of the women's division. But I feel like Saraya's going to say she's going to elevate the division, which is something that Britt Baker has not been able to do since then. Now, we do get another interview with Renee Paquette with MJF. Now, as you know, MJF has thoughts in his mind about Moxley and all this and that. However, Stokey Hathaway shows up, but MJF gave him a warning. He told him to leave Moxley alone. He wants him at 110%, but he told him if he even been touched, he's fired. Now, we have seen, if you guys know this or not, during the GCW event, Moxley lost the GCW World title thanks to Stokey Hathaway and W. Morrissey. I don't know if this was a direct message to ensure that MJF gets the upper hand to win the AEW World title. That is something unclear yet, but we will find out. Now, our next match, we have Sammy Guevara along with Mello taking on Bryan Danielson. I thought this match was pretty good. Not to mention, you have two different backgrounds of wrestlers, in fact, facing off each other. But not to mention, it was, of course, the Triangle Lancer that sealed the deal for Bryan Danielson and forced, with the moment that Danielson had him in Triangle, he gave the elbows to Sammy, and he was already out. Completely gave the match to Bryan Danielson. Now, during an interview, we have Rey Fenix along with Alex Montes gave his thoughts about his brother Penta facing Moxley, the possibility he could be double champion, and of course, Rey Fenix felt the same way, that he would like to do that, the challenge for the All Atlantic title. However, Christian Cage says that, that he has his right hand of destruction, taking on every other champion. But once again, here we go again with Orange Cassidy. Comes out, he decides, I'm going to put the All Atlantic title on the line. So I thought it was very impressive, but yes, it's going to happen. Now, our next match, we have Jamie Hayter versus Riho. Now, this is another prime example. As you know, Riho surprised everyone when she came back last week to help Toni Storm. Jamie Hayter felt that the spotlight once again, shifted away from her thanks to the sudden appearance. And of course, we know the X Factor in this, Britt Baker and Rebel will do anything to help her win the match. But it took at least 3 lariats to take down Riho, because Riho is a very tough girl despite of her size. But Jamie Hayter was able to pick up the win. However, at the post match, here comes Toni Storm sending a direct message to Jamie Hayter. As you know, she's trying to taunt her. Keep in mind, she lost twice to obtain the AEW Interim Women's Championship. But the obvious question is, can she do it? But I do have that distinct feeling that we could see Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter break away, because it's the spotlight. It's always about the spotlight between certain people. So we'll see what happens then. Now, we do get another interview with Renee Paquette, this time with Eddie Kingston. He said he's fine. He doesn't want to talk about what happened last time, but he did say that, he's good friends with both Penta and Jon Moxley, but he has that feeling that Moxley's going to walk out as the champion. No disrespect to Penta, but now he did say, everybody just leave me alone. So he doesn't want to talk about his issues that he's been having. Now, Darby Allin, as you know, he has been recently been going on his own. Sting's not with him at this time. He felt like he's been unhappy that he is this other thing, but he's kind of curious to find out who is this person that said that he knows his weakness. Darby did state it that the only weakness that he has is himself. So that's the obvious thing that's been going around. So he tells whoever this mystery person to come by, and we'll see. But of course, Lito, Sanjay Dutt, along with Satnam Singh, they said that they will bring that person, and that Darby Allin will lose the match coming up. Now, our main event, we have, of course, the AEW World Championship between Penta and Penta and, of course, Jon Moxley. That match was also another brutal match, breaking each other's bones, breaking everything. I thought it was nuts, but it took Jon Moxley with the Death Rider that sealed the deal for him to win. But however, when the match was over, we saw the Firm basically breaking Stokely Hathaway, being the little weasel or piece of garbage that he is, decided to attack Moxley to soften him up. But MJF, he warned him not to touch Moxley, and then what happened? Ethan Page actually super kicked him, and then they looks like that the Firm and MJF have cut all ties with him, because Stokely Hathaway feels that MJF may be a fool. He wants them to win, but not this way. Now keep in mind, Moxley won the last time against MJF because MJF was cutting corners. It did not work in his favor. So I think maybe for once MJF wants to do this the much easier way. But the obvious question is now, will they be 110% to Full Gear? We don't know, but there will be hell to pay by MJF to the Firm for what they've done. So that is something we're going to see. We're going to see what happens next week, but also stay tuned for Friday for Rampage. I think that's pretty much it. So let's do some news updates. Okay, welcome to news updates here. So let's get started. GCW updates right now. We have three important things coming up. It was announced for the Hit 'em Up event taking place this weekend. We have, of course, the GCW tag team titles will be on the line. Los Macizos will be taking on Wolf Zaddies. I don't know if I've ever seen them, but yeah. But also more info on their upcoming event taking place in November 20th in the Providence, Rhode Island. Mosh Slamovich returns, so she'll be participating in that event. And then finally, it was announced that they will do a New Year's weekend doubleheader. So we will see two shows, one for closing, one for opening. As you know, once they're going to have the closing show of 2022 and then the opening show of 2023. So I'm excited. I've seen this before the last time. I can't wait to see it again. Interesting news coming up from Tokyo Yoshi Pro Wrestling. For their Korakuen Hall event on the 27th of November, it was announced that the Princess of Princess Championship will be put on the line. So Yuka Sakazaki will be defending it against an American wrestler. Now, it's still no clue who could it be. There's a lot of possibilities, but we will see when that day comes. I'm kind of curious. I hope they give us a hint because I really want to know who it is. Prestige Wrestling has announced for two things. On the December event, The Things We Carry, Anthony Henry returns to Prestige. But for their new event starting off 2023 for Vendetta, B-Boy will be making his debut. I'm so excited for him to go there. Um, Next update, Deadlock Pro Wrestling is announced for the World's Strongest event taking place next month on the 12th of November. Donnie Ray and Mason Miles will be facing Adam Pearce and a mystery tag team partner. So we don't know who could that be. Now our final update. This one is a very curious one, and I think I'm definitely going to be enjoying it. As you know, Stardom and Showcase Volume 3 is back. Now, it's going to be back on the 26th of November. I'm curious about this one. But here's the interesting part. It's already announced on the card what match is going to be. We're going to have the Neo Stardom Army consistent of Nanane Takahashi and you and an unknown Grim Reaper. Now, we don't know who could this be. Last time we saw the Grim Reapers, the first one we saw you as the Grim Reaper. And then the next two we saw Nanane Takahashi and Yuna Manase. And now another Grim Reaper makes her appearances. We don't know who that is. But I have that distinct feeling this is going to be a very interesting match because their opponents, it's none other than Julia, Mai Sakurai, and Tekla of DDM. Now, keep in mind, Julia has issues towards the New Stardom Army, because she claims that they have the passion, but no, that's not what Neo Stardom Army believes, But I wouldn't be surprised that if Julia goes after the Grim Reaper and takes off the mask, I'm going to say she's going to be shocked who is underneath that mask. That's going to be the biggest surprise ever, and I can guarantee you that could happen. So we don't know who this third Grim Reaper is, but hold on to your hats. And I think that's pretty much it. But if there's any new thing on the card for Showcase Volume 3, I will put that up as well on the next episode or so. So I think that's pretty much it. So let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, we got more on New Japan Pro Wrestling with Battle Atom for day 10. And of course, we got Impact Wrestling. We cannot forget about that either. Now, there's still some events that I'm definitely will probably be watching soon, but we will get to that as soon as possible. I haven't decided which ones I want to do because they're piling up all over on watchprowrestling.org, but we will see what happens then. But at the moment, I'll just end it right here for everybody. So I will see you on the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. Mwah. And have a nice day. Bang.